Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another oversimplified reaction, and this was actually alerted to me through, it was through my recent YouTube post asking for suggestions for new video reactions, and the top comment at the point that I saw was this one, and it was the Hitler Oversimplified Part 1 and Part 2 episodes. And in the comment, they mentioned the fact that, because I've never actually seen this pop up before, and they mentioned the fact that I need to use a VPN to watch this. Apparently this was blocked in the UK, and it was, which is kind of crazy to me, an oversimplified video blocked in the UK. Maybe it's sort of the topic and the subject that it's about. But yeah, like I've never seen this before. I feel like I may have seen it suggested, but I've never actually seen the direct video. Hence why I've never reacted to it. But yeah, we're here with it now. And yeah, I mean, I'm interested to check this out because again, the fact that it was blocked, there's obviously reasons behind it, but I don't know why. I mean, hopefully I can post it because obviously I'm using the VPN, but my VPN isn't always automatically on. So when I'm going to turn my PC off, the video may end up getting blocked itself, but I'm going to hope it doesn't. And yeah, I mean, hopefully it just doesn't get blocked. But I mean, yeah, let's just get into this one. Let's see what this is about. And again, it's another oversimplified video, so I'm sure it's going to be a banger. But yeah, before we get into it, quick shout out to my Instagram and my Twitter, links in the description for those. Same for my Patreon, links all there for those interested. But let's get into this one, man.
Look at this baby. So gentle.
Is this him when he was a kid? He looks like a devil then as well.
So innocent. You'd think this child would grow up to become a good man. An honest man. Well, think again.
Isn't it kind of mental how, I don't know why I think like this, but it's just crazy to me how you have babies who are so innocent, just you can't expect anything bad from them. 20 years time, 30 years time, they turn into the biggest psychos possible. And it's just like, how can a baby like this turn into a creature like this? It's kind of a weird concept. I don't know why I think like that, but it is something I've always thought, like, how can something so innocent turn into Hitler or whoever it is? It's a weird idea.
Hitler was born Adolphus Hitler in 1889 in a small town in Austria-Hungary. His father, Alois Schicklgruber, was born out of wedlock, but eventually changed his name to that of his stepfather, becoming Alois Hitler. Alois was a mid-level Austrian customs officer, not really rolling in cash, but certainly rolling in women. He married a rich, older lady, but then immediately started having affairs, including one with a
sugar baby? Is it a sugar baby? Sugar kid? What's it when a man gets a younger man gets with an older woman? I'm going to say sugar baby, but that sounds kind of wild. I think that's the
much
term
younger house servant. A few years later, he left his sick wife to be with his mistress.
But
since the Catholic Church didn't allow divorce at the time, he couldn't marry her. So he waited for his old wife to die and had a child in the meantime. Then his wife died, so he married his mistress and had another child. But then his new wife got sick, so he employed his much younger cousin Clara to take care of her. Then when his new
I thought for a second he was going to get with his cousin, I swear.
wife died, he immediately got Clara, his cousin, pregnant, and then...
Oh my god! I swear, this is going to be Hitler, man. And we wonder why he turned out the way he did.
In that order, you rock star. Clara and Alois had 3 children together, who all tragically died while in infancy. So when the 4th child, Adolf...
Oh, so fuck! Why?
Came along, Clara spoiled him rotten. The Hitlers had 2 more kids, and the family moved around a few times, meaning Adolf had to attend 5 different elementary schools. Adolf's father was strict, quick to anger, and took most of it out on the eldest son until he had enough and ran away at the age of 14, leaving 7-year-old Adolf to do most of the chores and get berated by his father. The result was a difficult relationship with his dad, while he was super attached to his mother, who worried over him and his health excessively. Hitler did well in school at first. His grades were good and his teachers praised him. He was popular with the other kids and enjoyed gathering them together to play war games. He also loved reading and particularly liked stories about cowboys and Indians. As he grew older though, he started to get into trouble. He was caught smoking once, organized a raid on a local orchard, tormented his pro-Austria religion teacher with symbolic gestures, displaying his allegiance to the idea of united Germanic people under a greater German state in defiance of...
That's so weird to me because he's not even from Germany. That's such a weird concept that he's so obsessed with Germany, but he's not from
Austria. You know, the usual. All of this enraged Adolf's father, who punished him severely. The area of Austria-Hungary that Hitler lived in was once part of the German Confederation, and many of the people who lived there considered themselves to be German. Adolf tended to just go against whatever his father said, and since his father was an Austrian public official, Hitler got big into German nationalism. This enraged Adolf's father, who punished him severely. Around this time, a family tragedy struck. His 6-year-old brother, whom he loved a lot, died of measles when Adolf was 10, and was buried in the cemetery just across from their home. Around this
I
time,
mean, to be
neighbors
fair,
reported a change in the
when you've got is it incest inbred family like that, there's going to be a lot of deaths. Although I think he was the son of the other mum who wasn't actually related, but
young
still.
boy. Strange behaviors such as talking to trees and staying up late staring at the stars from the cemetery walls. He lost interest in religion, and his school grades started to decline, which enraged his father, who punished him severely. It also didn't help that he had just entered high school, and the cool city boys treated him like a rural peasant. He had to repeat a grade and had little interest in most school subjects, instead spending his time reading and drawing, which he was quite good at. One day his father said, "Son, someday you'll be a big balls public official like me." And Adolf replied, "No, father, I'm going to become an artist and soar high above the clouds with the eagles." This enraged his father, but by this time he was an old-ass man, so he just sort of let it go, and then died of a lung hemorrhage. Hitler just about passed his final semester and celebrated in the typical way, by getting blackout drunk and wiping his ass with the certificate. However, he didn't take the overall final school exam, instead just dropping out. The now 16-year-old boy was unemployed, without much purpose in life, and for the next 3 years he stayed that way. He spent most of his time at the opera with his only friend, August Kubizek. Kubizek later wrote his memories of the young Hitler, and said he was passionately interested in many things, felt he was in many ways better than others his age, was quick to anger just like his father, and an incredible speaker once he was ranting. When he was 18, he said a very sad goodbye to his mother and went to Vienna to take the entrance exam for art school. He failed. Soon after, he had to return home. His mother was sick, and her health was rapidly deteriorating. Hitler stayed by her side, and when she eventually died, the family doctor said he had never seen someone so overwhelmed with grief as Hitler was. Then Hitler returned to Vienna, still hoping to find a career in the arts, but he never did. Instead, without parental support, Hitler ended up on the streets. Now in his early 20s, he spent a few rough years living in and out of homeless shelters, making what little he could from selling postcards he painted. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when and how Hitler's extreme ideological beliefs formed, but his time in Vienna would have certainly played a role. Anti-Semitism was widespread in the city. The mayor, whom Hitler supported, was an outspoken anti-Semite. There were many right-wing anti-Semitic newsletters, which Hitler took a keen interest in. He bought into the conspiracy theories, and became a firm believer in the idea that there are many races in constant struggle with one another, the purest of which were the German Aryan people, and the worst of which, he believed.
Yeah, he was obsessed with it. I noticed that the Aryan, or whatever it is, isn't it like blonde people with blue eyes or whatever? That's what he was obsessed with, wasn't
were
it?
Jews. Since Austria-Hungary was a multi-ethnic empire full of lesser races, Hitler wasn't a fan. So when he was 24, he moved to Munich in Germany to avoid doing military service, and for one more year he was a drifter on the streets, until something huge happened. In 1914, long-standing tensions in Europe erupted into the First World War. Crowds across Europe celebrated the news. Within days, Hitler volunteered for the German army. The war gave him a purpose in life. His fellow soldiers gave him friendship and brotherhood. Despite the horrors of war, Hitler considered it to be the best time of his life. He was reportedly a brave soldier and was awarded the Iron Cross, first class. He was also very lucky and had many close encounters with death. His luck ran out in 1916, however, when an artillery shell injured his leg. He went back to Germany to recover and was outraged to find a general apathetic anti-war attitude among the exhausted and hungry German populace. With the war turning against Germany, he returned to the front lines, but was temporarily blinded by a British gas attack in 1918. A month later, still recovering in hospital, Hitler learned of Germany's defeat and surrender. The terms of the peace treaty were tough on Germany. It had to pay a lot of money and lose a lot of soldiers. These conditions weakened Germany and humiliated the German people. Europe's borders changed after the war too. New countries were formed out of Russia's lost territory, Austria-Hungary was dissolved, and there was one big new country splitting Germany into two. Hitler, seeing the country he loved humiliated like this, said that hatred grew in him for those responsible, by which he meant communists and Jews, who he believed had stabbed Germany in the back by spreading dissent and anti-war propaganda back home.
And part two, I'm going to do this straight after, but I'm going to save it for another reaction. But this is nuts. I never knew his parents were related. I didn't realise he was like homeless on the streets at certain points. It's kind of wild how this could all lead to where he is now, but you can kind of see it from the sense that his dad was not the same kind of job, but similar kind of thing, like in politics and stuff. But bro, I was not expecting this. As soon as I heard I knew he was going to say, like, when his cousin came along, I just knew that he was going to, like, yeah, they got together, and I'm just like, no, why is this a thing? Like, that's just... And it's weird how 3 of their children passed away, but Hitler's the one that managed to survive, like, or Adolf's the first name, because they're all called Hitler. Adolf's the one who survived, like, what the fuck, man? Art school, I don't like how you draw the lines. Hitler draws Europe some new lines. Art school doesn't accept Hitler. The enraged Hitler who punishes with the world severely. Teacher, I draw a picture. Hitler, teacher, I draw a picture. Teacher, it's very bad. Hitler, then draw me a new world map. Asian kid gets an A instead of an A+. This enraged his parents who punish him severely. Fuck's sake. Imagine the most hated man in history having the last name as... Shit, I can't even say that. But imagine that was actually his last name, because obviously he changed his name, isn't it? How do you say that? Schickel Grubber. Hitler goes to art school, he fails. Poland, oh no. Hitler is born. This enraged his father who punished him severely. Hitler breathes. This enraged his father, which punished him severely. Shout out to his father, man. I mean, I can't lie. I mean, he's probably the guy who got the most satisfaction out of beating Hitler. And I'm not saying beat your children at all. But in terms of Hitler, man. What am I getting? I can't say this. I'm going to get cancelled. But for hitting Hitler, got to applaud it. I've got to applaud it. What am I saying? But now, honestly, hope you guys enjoyed again. I'm going to get to part 2. I'm so surprised that this got blocked. Because again, I didn't know this was a video. But now I've seen it. I'm definitely like getting right into part 2. Because it's just so interesting to see the rise of Hitler. How he grew up, etc. And how he became what he did become. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Until next time. Like, subscribe. And peace.